Hello, mysterious person behind the screen. Happy 60th birthday, Doctor Who. Yes, today, as you're watching this, the 23rd of November, 60 years to the day that this silly little show premiered and won the hearts of many. It's the world's longest running sci-fi show.
I started a very long time ago.
It's got one of the biggest and most devoted fan bases on the planet.
I believe they're called Whovians.
And it has been a constant in my life since I was very small.
Personally, I think that's a hell of a bird.
And so it's a little bit hard making this video to effectively pay tribute to this cultural juggernaut and this incredible, huge, massive part of my life. Where do I even start? Where do I even begin to sum up the impact it's had on my life? So we're going to keep it light. I'm going to look back at some memories I have of the show, what it's done for me, and just pay tribute to, if you'll forgive the pun, the greatest show in the galaxy. My first memory of Doctor Who, and I've told this story before, is the scene from Daleks in Manhattan where they discover the brain in the sewer, specifically David Tennant going,
Whoa!
Is it radioactive or something?
and from that moment on, I was hooked. It was a BBC Three repeat that I saw, and for a while, that was all I knew of Doctor Who. It was just this strange show with the green brain in the sewer. And then, because my parents knew that I loved what I saw, and I was so hooked by what I saw, they got me this DVD, Series 3, Volume 2, with Daleks in Manhattan, Evolution of the Daleks, The Lazarus Experiment, and 42. And for a long, long time, this was all I had of my Doctor Who collection. This was it. This was it right here, the genesis of my Doctor Who fandom. I watched this disc to death. And it's mad, really, that looking at this now, really, this one DVD, from that moment on, seared itself into my brain so much and affected my entire life beyond that. And after this, for a few years anyway, it was non-stop. I was a Doctor Who fan and nothing else. So many happy memories of trips to Asda to get all the new figures. One in particular, Dalek Thay, was the first Dalek figure I ever bought. And he's in the cabinet there, so I won't get him out. But Dalek Thay is very special to me and holds a very special memory because I love the Daleks. Obviously, it was this story that got me. And my granddad at the time was very ill. My great-granddad was very ill. And he was in a wheelchair at the time. And so I got the Dalek Thay figure from Asda. I was like 5 years old at this point. And on the way home, he was outside of his house in his wheelchair. And we stopped just on the side of the street. And my mum stopped the car and to say hello. And I showed him what I got. And I was super excited, you know, as 5-year-olds are. And he started doing a Dalek impression and pretending to be a Dalek in his wheelchair. And that really entertained me, and that may have been one of the last times I ever saw my great-granddad, because he passed away not long after that, but still the clearest memory I have of him is because of Doctor Who. His name was Ray, and I just bought Dalek Thay, and so he would pretend to be Dalek Ray. So that is just one of the countless examples I have of memories in my life that are very special, because I don't remember a huge amount about him, and I would never have that memory were it not for Doctor Who. And there are tons of moments like that across my entire life, memories and experiences that I would not have had without Doctor Who. I've got so many happy memories of going to the Doctor Who Up Close exhibition in Cardiff Bay during sort of 2007, 2008, 2009. Some of my happiest childhood memories walking around that place, because it was the first real time I had any idea that shows were made by people. And that idea that, yeah, these thrilling adventures with the Doctor that I was going on every Saturday night, somebody made those, and somebody wrote them, and somebody directed them. And even if I didn't know what those things meant, I knew the significance that somebody was making something that felt like it was just for me. And being able to see the props and the costumes and the exhibits up close, and then by proxy learning about the old Doctors, learning about the classic series, and learning that this thing had been going on for decades, it really affected how I perceived media. And I genuinely believe I would not be doing this, I would not be as into pop culture as I am without Doctor Who, because it was that catalyst for getting me into like watching the extras on DVDs and watching behind the scenes stuff and being fascinated by and paying attention to credits, paying attention to opening credits and end credits, seeing people I recognise from other things and being like, okay, this person made this, and just getting me fascinated in the creative industry, an industry that I now work in and I'm so happy in. It's something that without Doctor Who, without that exhibit, without me watching this, I wouldn't have. My best friend, Gav, who many of you know, we would probably never have met had it not been for Doctor Who. We met in school and we bonded over our love of Doctor Who, and we're still very good friends to this day, as many of you know, and so much of our friendship is based around Doctor Who and the amount of hours we have wasted talking about this silly show. But it's not wasted. This is the thing, it's not wasted for us because so much of our lives have been shaped by it. And I'm sure that's the case for many people. Like me sitting here talking about this show now and saying it means this much to me probably isn't news to any of you guys, because most people who are fans of Doctor Who, like I am, as in like this deep into it, have this story as well. Like something's happened in their life because of Doctor Who that they wouldn't have had. This show has reached out and touched millions of people, and that cannot be denied. And it's easy to take it for granted. It's very easy to get caught up in the cynicism of everything, as I said earlier. It's very easy to get lost in fandom fights and rows on the internet and just taking things way too seriously, going full Victor Kennedy on it, you know. But often, and especially during this 60th anniversary year, I have been reminded of stuff that we take for granted. Stuff like the fact that this thing has been running for 60 years and is so generational and is so uniquely generational. It's been going for that long and it has remained in that same continuity for that long. It's never been rebooted. The continuity has never been chucked out the window and started all over again. The story that started in 1963 is the same one that is continuing to be told in 2023. And how many franchises can say that? How many franchises can say that they've had this one show that has gone on for so long? And okay, maybe you count the classic series and the modern series as separate shows and the new Bad Wolf era as a separate show. Doesn't matter, it's all still one show, and it has been going on for that long, telling this ongoing story, and I just think that's wonderful. Like, how many things can you say that for? It's something that gets passed down from generation to generation, and you know, my nan has memories of William Hartnell, my parents of Tom Baker, and me of getting into it with David Tennant. And I hope that one day when I have kids, I'll be able to pass it on to them and they'll have their Doctor and their era, and it's something that has just permeated generations. And I think that is such a special thing that Doctor Who is so unique to have. To kind of illustrate my point that it really kind of struck me the other day when I saw this. This is an issue of Doctor Who magazine that came out in 1984, 1985. Colin Baker as Doctor Who there. This is an issue of the same magazine that came out in 2018 with Jodie Whittaker as Doctor Who. And this is an issue of the same magazine that came out last week with David Tennant as Doctor Who. 3 editions of the same magazine, decades and years apart, for the same show, the same publication. These 3 people on the front, they're the same character. Damn, this show is amazing. And then that's not even going into the fact that the show has genuinely produced some of the best television I've ever seen. Which is weird really when I think, because I often think of Doctor Who as the little show that could. But of course, nowadays it's got Disney money. It's, you know, massive. But it's still, I think, crucially, has remained that quaint little British show on the BBC. And I think that's so important. Even when they did the movie in the 90s, and they tried to take it to America, it still had that quaint British energy to it and that very small scale charm to it, and I hope it never loses that. Being a Doctor Who fan's really cool because you don't have to look up to one character. You can look up to 13, 14, 15 versions of that character. As a kid, having heroes in your media is important. Having role models in fiction is important. And if you get into Doctor Who as a kid, you get so many of them. There are kids now who have seen Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor, who will be telling their kids in the future memories of them watching Jodie's era, or now Ncuti's incoming era, and how important it was for them, just like people of my age now speak about David Tennant, and people of sort of my parents' age speak about Tom Baker, Peter Davison, and I don't know what else to say. That is just incredibly impressive. I think the character of the Doctor has really helped me throughout my life in terms of processing change, and I've always struggled with that. And there's one particular phrase that has stuck out to me ever since I saw it when it first aired, and it's from Matt Smith's regeneration speech. We're all different people all through our lives, but that's okay. You've got to keep moving so long as you remember the people you used to be. And that is something that I have taken to heart for so much of my life since seeing that in 2013, 10 years ago. That has become such a big part of how I see the world. The idea that this is the same person in different skins and different bodies, and that idea of being true to who you are and remembering who you are, but moving forward into the future. And you know what I'm trying to say. I'm butchering this horribly, but that idea is so important to me. And that is maybe the biggest element of the Doctor that I've really taken into certainly my life. And you know, it's something that will always resonate with me, even before it was kind of put into words by Matt Smith's Doctor. I kind of always had that in the back of my mind, no matter what Doctor I was actually watching. So, yeah, it's incredibly important. And like I said earlier, I think being a Doctor Who fan's cool, but Doctor Who isn't cool. Doctor Who will never be cool. It may be popular, but it will never be cool. But I don't really care about that. I never have done. Being a Doctor Who fan, it's sort of like, sometimes it's a bit embarrassing to admit you're a Doctor Who fan. And sometimes I play into that, you know, sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, Doctor Who fan, yeah. But I have never truly been embarrassed to be a fan of the show. Not properly. Because ultimately, being a Doctor Who fan, I think, has made me a better person. And I'm not embarrassed about that. What could be cooler? Ultimately, I love a lot of things. I love horror, I love Marvel, I love video games. But Doctor Who will always be my first love. Will always be the piece of media that I have the most connection to. There is nothing like this show, and I don't know that there ever will be, really. I think just because of the sheer impact it's had on my life, no matter how old I get, a little bit of the magic of Doctor Who will always be there with me. So, happy birthday, Doctor. And please feel free below in the comments to share your memories of Doctor Who and what it means to you, because it means something different to all of us. It's our cultural heritage, and as a result, everyone's going to have their own experiences with it. So please comment below and let me know yours, because I just love talking to people and sharing those memories and experiences. And it's the 60th anniversary date today, and hey, enjoy the Star Beast on Saturday, and then Wild Blue Yonder and the Giggle after that. It's very exciting. We are so close now to a new era of Doctor Who, and I couldn't be more excited. And I just think this 60th anniversary year has truly been magical. And yeah, like I say, all that's left for me to say is happy birthday, Doctor. And yeah, thanks for everything, Doc.